It's time now for our next segment, and we want to talk about work, career, finance, specifically how to conduct a job search in the age of COVID. My guest here in studio with me, I have Jane Mutisia, who's an HR expert and a women development advocate. Karibu tena to the show.
Thank you very much. Yes.
All right. So obviously this has just been a year and a half. It's been something else, quite a roller coaster, and a lot of people unfortunately have lost their jobs and are on the market now trying to find some sort of way to sustain themselves and their families financially. So at the same time though, we're looking at businesses, many of them having to close their doors, some industries almost collapsing. So it's a very tough situation where the jobs, which already seemed few and far between, seem to have shrunk even more, and the number of people hoping to get into that workforce has quadrupled, if anything. So what does that mean then as far as job searches are conducted, even with things like social distancing? And I don't know how much that sort of in-person interview, how much of a role that had to play, you know, in someone getting a job. And now we're doing things on Zoom and all these digital platforms. What's your take as far as where things stand in the HR world?
Okay, so basically actually companies are still hiring. If you go to other job sites, even in Kenya, you'll find that actually you still find very many jobs. So the truth is some industries have been very, very, very affected. They have closed shop and all that, but you still have very many other industries that are actually, you know, thriving. So if you're a job seeker, if you have lost your job, just focus on creating your transferable skills. What skills did you get in your other job that you can actually transfer to other jobs? Especially guys who are working in the hotel industry and the tourism industry. So sometimes people keep saying similar industry, similar ABCD. So you have to focus and see how to now have your transferable skills as the first thing that comes in your CV when you're applying for those jobs. But jobs are there. They could be limited, but people are still getting jobs.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So what are there any sort of conditions that have changed for the ones who are getting these jobs that are out there? You know, is there something that now counts more than ever
in terms of skills? I think
you've focused, of course, on these transferable skills.
So in terms of what has to count right now, one of them is actually flexibility. How flexible are you? Because you're going to give you a job, but it may not be 100%. It may not be 8 to 5. Maybe you're seeing our operations have gone down, so we are looking for someone to engage at 40%, or we are looking for someone who can work from home and you don't have to come to the office. So you have to be very flexible and very adaptable as a skill. The other thing is you have to be very well managed. Are you able to manage yourself? Because if you're not coming to the office and you're not with your manager there at home, so how do you get this work done? So that's being able to just manage yourself and be productive on your own self is also very key. Another skill that is actually very important is actually just knowing how to even if you're coming for the interview, can we get your video when you're doing the interview via Zoom and ABCD just working? Because we are not saying that you will not work when you start working, but how you behave actually says a lot when...
Wait, where is the microphone? How do I... No, you don't.
Because
that's not a good impression.
You can't plan. It actually says you can't plan. So those are some of the skills that actually are very, very, very key, because the same skills that you used in your previous job still matter now. So what is mattering is about now just self-leadership, you know.
I want to ask you about flexibility, and you said self-management specifically, because how do you sort of prove in an interview that you, or anywhere, that you have those skills? How do you demonstrate that you can be flexible? And how do you demonstrate, at least flexibility? I guess that's a commitment you make. You say you will be.
We can actually pick it in the interviews. We can actually pick it. Like there are times that we'll ask you questions and you'll be very rigid. Like, I need to see the job description. I need to understand the reporting structure. There are things that you can actually say in the interview that you actually pick. This person's a bit rigid. So bringing them on board, it means they have to. They're the guys who work from here to here and all that. And maybe you're not even showing empathy even to us, because even as a business, we are affected. All of us are battling this thing. So it's not just about the job seekers that are suffering, but even the employers also have their own issues. So when you come and it's all about you, again, it is, you are still in the past, and we have moved from there.
I need to ask you a question because it's related to what I want to now talk about, which is networking and the power of networking. For a long time, there was this idea of you need to know somebody who knows somebody, or know the one who makes the decisions. And how much of that actually goes into play? Because there's also a perception that actually is the job advertisements that we're seeing, they've already selected someone. This is just a
PR.
or to show that you are compliant, that you've done this in a kosher way.
It's not true. I keep giving my own example. I got 5 jobs. I worked for 9 years and I worked for 5 employers, and I didn't know a single soul. I am in recruitment. I have hired so many people that I've never met, that I didn't know, that were not even recommended to me by anyone. So it is not always that for you to get a job, you must know someone. I am very sure there are people who are listening and they know that they have gotten jobs and they didn't know anyone, you know. So you can actually it's not every day that I'll know an engineer. It's not every day that I'll know the accountant that has the specific skill that I'm looking for. It's not every day that I'll get a journalist that has the skills that you have that I'm looking to hire for. You know what I mean? So don't remove yourself from the game by saying you don't know someone. No. Just purpose to have your skills very well laid, because when you say that, then it means you will not work on your career tools.
True.
Because you're starting from a defeatist approach.
Right.
Yeah. You have lost the optimism.
Yeah.
And therefore you can't help you. Yeah. So jobs are there. Just talk about networking. And networking has changed. We used to make sure that you're actually going for events to go and meet people and go for the events and all that.
It's how funny you are, how witty you are.
Yeah, but now we are not having events anymore.
Yeah.
And therefore it means now we have to learn the new way of networking, the online networking.
Right.
So, and I tell people, spare 30 minutes every day, just go online, go to LinkedIn. That's where you get jobs from, not Facebook.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
LinkedIn must become really important.
Very important. If you don't have an account, please create one. You have to go to LinkedIn, see the people that you want. Don't follow everyone. Just follow the industries that you want to be to because you want to have targeted networking, follow them and like the articles, comment on the articles,
Right.
Get to be known because of the things that you contribute. Get to research that you can sound wit in the things that you're actually commenting about.
Right.
See something, even take your time. You want to make an impact,
Yeah.
So take your time. No, I'm following Joyce, I'm following so-and-so, I'm following so-and-so, and I'll be spending my time to just make sure these people with time they get to know there is a Jane Mutisia somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, because
and
of
I like that
ABCD.
approach because it's still pared back, it's still reserved, but active.
Yeah.
Because there is a LinkedIn etiquette. You don't want to be the person who's just in everybody's inbox. Like, please give me a job. You've always been my mentor, and from where? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there is an etiquette as well, because it's very easy to put off people.
Exactly.
I think.
Actually, some people will block you. If you keep inboxing people, they don't know you. They'll be kind. Some of them will just respond and will get back when something comes up. But they don't know you. People give you something because they're relating with you.
Yeah.
So the first thing, can you connect? Can you connect with me so that I get to know there's someone who follows me, they like my articles, they contribute. And if I start feeling like I know you, even the day you come to my inbox, your name will be familiar. So you have to learn that etiquette and, just be able, people who like your documents actually get to know them.
Yeah. All right. So there are jobs out there, as you've heard, and God willing, you're one of you are fortunate enough to now get called for an interview, and it is through Zoom or Google Meet or whatever, one of these digital platforms. What are your tips then as far as being interviewed on a digital
platform? In terms of the virtual interview. So one thing that I like candidates to know, and I've seen this during this time when you're recruiting, during this time of Zoom, you must know that it's the same interview. We are still testing you. You are still being judged. You are still competing with other people, so you better be your best version. Yeah. So prepare like it was a normal interview that you come and we have to face to face. Please know that your impressions still matter. How you come, sit, and how you're looking. I've seen people coming into interviews with t-shirts. I've seen guys interviewing on the road. So, you can actually see the background and you can tell their cars passing and all things like that. So if you're not taking this serious, how are you going to excel in it? So take it seriously. The same way you'd set time aside for the interview. The same way you'd go like, what will I wear? How is my hair? How is ABCD? How will I look? Please take time for that, and prepare through the job. Don't assume because we are not waiting for you. No, you don't have to keep time.
Right.
You don't have to pay and all that.
Yeah.
The other thing that I've seen letting people down is technology. So you come in for the interview. We are all set for you. Then we look for you for the next 20 minutes. You did not test whether your net is working. You don't know whether your camera is working. We want to see you. That's why we are doing a Zoom. Otherwise, we would have just done a phone call, So you don't know whether your mic is working. So we can see you.
I like that. You've done a Zoom because you want to see the person.
Exactly.
So even you, ukae chonjo, usiwe ati sasa hiyo ndio ulikuwa unafumua matuta or whatever you are doing. Otherwise, they would have just given you a phone call.
Yeah, it would just have been a phone call. So we are doing Zoom because we actually want to feel like it's still the face-to-face interview that people used to do.
Okay.
So we are there. We are struggling to hear what you are saying because you didn't test your net.
Hello?
You're looking so dark. Yeah. And then it's so dark, there's even no lighting. So I'm telling job seekers, this is a new normal and you don't know how long this will be. Please invest in some lighting. Just the bedside. any lighting that we just put and people are able to see you in the light place,
Right.
so that we are not dealing with something so in a corner dark and you are struggling to understand
Right.
who you are and all that.
Right.
So invest in lighting. If you have an interview, please, that particular day, even if you don't have Wi-Fi, invest in just get data, enough data. Good in an amount that can actually stream through. Test your Zoom, call your friends,
Yeah.
go on. Zoom is free, 30 minutes. Anybody should be able to test. Go online, create an account, have that one that is free for the 40 minutes. Call your friend, get to test.
Yeah.
See how it looks,
Right.
get to see how you're looking, because
Right.
sometimes when people come and because maybe they're not used to it, the whole never they're like this. You're only
Yeah,
seeing
yeah, very important.
Yeah.
Like, make sure we don't want to look up your nostrils.
Yeah.
And neither do we just want to see from your eyebrows. Like, we don't want to be
Putting
looking
it
up
so
your
well,
nose.
yeah.
So make sure, like, I think
Sit
eye
properly.
contact,
Yeah,
just
sit,
confident,
get
even
a
in your
comfortable seat
posture.
and sit properly and make sure that you can actually, the first time that you do that record, so that you're able to actually see yourself and how you're looking in that particular clip, and then get your posture for how you'll be sitting going forward. So if you sit like this all through and we're just sitting here and we're like, we can't see you, and you do this and you disappear again and completely from the, it's a struggle. So this is where we are. It's part of the skills that we have to learn.
Yeah.
And by now it's not a secret because everyone is doing this. If you have done 1, 2 or 3, the challenges that you faced, please fix them up. Fix them up, and please don't be testing Zoom the first time that you're doing the interview with you.
Sure,
it is
very
free.
important,
Yeah, it is free. Please go practice with your friends.
And also important to say, maybe if you live with other people, very important to have that conversation with them. We don't want to be like that guy who was on a call, then his wife is anaingia with the towel and brushing the like you just don't want to have that experience.
Interruptions, yeah, which is true. We
Yeah,
have
so
faced
talk
all
to the
that,
people
yeah.
in your house, if they're making noise, ask them, from this time to this time.
If you're doing it from the
please.
sitting room, switch your TV. Yes, just have silence. Let it
Yeah.
be like a normal boardroom,
Sure.
Tell them that it's very important. If you have kids, know how to manage them. Either they go play somewhere or log, I don't know where, but just make sure that is managed.
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes there are so many interruptions.
Yeah.
And we're wondering if you have to work from home, are you going to manage? Fine, we're understanding. But if you find this particular person is not going to understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just make it work for you.
Sure.
Yeah.
How strict, if that's the word, are people like you, HR experts, being in this season as far as qualifications are concerned? Because as we've said, a lot of industries, have had to sort of close their doors, but there's others that are really blossoming and thriving. And maybe I don't have experience in that particular industry, and or maybe even I fall short in some of the qualifications, but I still really believe I can,
can
add
do the job.
value. How do I ensure that I'm still seen and given a chance to explain that?
Okay. So first, if you meet 80% of the requirements of that job, please apply.
Okay.
Yeah, at least 80%. If you're missing 20, we can train that. Most people will take you if there's something. If you actually showcase the reason why you totally feel that you actually fit for this job.
Okay.
So have it in your LinkedIn, have it in your cover letter, and have it in your CV, and be consistent. And please just understand what you want to showcase. Read that job advert, understand exactly if I say this and I have this, this is my biggest strength in this job, and showcase that. We don't have to talk about your weakness. If your weakness is maybe education or maybe a certain skill that you're missing, let it not be the first thing that you're saying you don't have in your cover or in your CV. Talk about what you have that could actually make us talk to you.
Yeah.
If you have 0 qualifications, please don't apply for the job.
Okay.
Yeah. If you have 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Come on, because like the other time we were looking for an engineer and we had lawyers and nurses applying. Okay, 1, 2, 3, not many, but I'm wondering, what exactly is this nurse looking for in this role? What exactly is this we are looking for this role? Because qualifications still matter. I am saying nothing has changed per se. The same way we used to do our things. If it's an accountant, we still need this person to have basic training in accounting.
Yeah.
If it's in whatever industry, we still need some basic, unless if there are those industries that require just the talent, some jobs will require that you have some qualification for that particular job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe talking about that is you analyzing your gap. No, if you have any gap that you need to fit in, and then see how to close that gap.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't serve you now, we still have the future.
Okay.
Yeah, and the future is there to you can feel the job that
Sure,
time
sure,
you
sure.
don't get now. Yeah.
All right. Well, Susan from Juju says, hey, Joyce, I love the topic on job search because I have tried to apply for jobs here and there, but I'm still trusting in God. We won't give up. That's Susan. And someone else says, hey, Joyce, I love what HR Jane is saying, but companies are kind of not employing right now. And even if you get the job, the salary is not as good as before COVID. How do I negotiate for the abilities and experience that I have in this time of COVID? A great question. And, all of us are struggling to think, but you're still asking me. In fact, people who are still employed are saying they're working even more from home, yet they've had to take this massive pay cut. So, is it also a matter of us just kind of adjusting our expectations?
I think it's part of the flexibility that I was talking about, because like I said, even the employers are struggling. This thing is not just affecting you as a job seeker. You must know that even the industry actually, the business doesn't want to close, so they are doing everything to actually stay afloat. So you must also understand. And sometimes if you have lost your job and you're looking for another one, you must have that flexibility. Maybe companies are not making as much money as they were making last year or whichever other year that was, So if they can't pay you for the much that you're paying, or you also have to be realistic. You can negotiate, but don't negotiate in a way that you look like you're also not empathetic to them, in a way that actually kicks you out of whatever the equation. And just understand, now this is sad to say, but I will say it. We are almost in like what I'm calling the employer's market. A labor market must be balanced with the suppliers and the buyers and all that. But because now it is the employer, and job seekers are now many more than we were there before. So it's almost like an employer's market, and therefore, I think we have to adjust. We have to adjust. And if you're working from home, even your expenses have gone down. You're not paying bus fare, you're not buying lunch, of course you're buying net and all that. But I would actually ask job seekers to adjust. To adjust. Don't get fixed to a job that you had in the past. Because right now you're at zero. So don't get stuck in your past and you keep negotiating about a job that you had last year, January, and refusing to take offers, that are coming just because they're not paying you that much. People talk about their worth, but the longer you stay out of work, the harder it comes for you to actually get another job, because sometimes you don't get a chance to practice your skills and all that.
I have two questions related to that. One is, you're talking about the longer you stay out of work, the harder it is, because your skills, you're not exercising those skills. How important is it to then do internships count in this season?
They do.
Or voluntary experience, even if you're not being paid?
They do. It's not I keep saying, it is not the gap that hurts us. It is the rusting that happens to us when you take a gap. Because you take a gap and you stay home doing nothing, So things are coming up in your industry, you have no clue, Whatever you used to do last year has now changed. You could type very fast, a report very fast. Now you do this in your laptop because you're not used to the keyboard and things like that. So if you're not having a job, try everything to remain in the industry. Try everything to remain fresh, even if not 100%, but at least remain in the space.
That won't look bad. Like, say, for example, you are a project manager. And then now, I don't know what would be below that. For example,
if it's volunteership,
maybe you're an officer, or you're even doing a volunteer internship. When that won't reflect.
If you have already worked, it's almost impossible for you to be an intern. If you have been a project manager, it's almost impossible that you're going to be because internship is to teach you work. Yeah. So interns is for people who are either venturing into new field altogether. So you're a project manager, but you want to learn some finance and you're in HR. So that's like internship for you because it's new for you.
So what does a project manager do if they've lost a job?
You can volunteer. You can volunteer. You can even provide your services. You can even provide your services to other people. You can even start your online thing where you do things that actually keep you in the industry. Whatever happens, be creative. Don't choose to just be home, eating, sleeping, watching TV. That will hurt you in the long run.
Okay.
We'll come for the interview. We'll ask you basics, things that you knew last year and you struggle to remember because you have been out of the space. Trust me.
So when this COVID thing passes and you're at your next interview, you seem to feel or suggest that HR professionals will look favorably upon someone who, even if they lost their job, can show, instead of saying staying home, I decided to go and volunteer my services at XYZ place, or I tried to start my own consultancy. You're saying
I'll say this again. The gap does not hurt us. When you stay home, that gap hurts you because your skills are on a decline.
It's
what you don't use, you lose.
Rusty.
What you don't use, you lose.
Yeah. Okay.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So HR people, and I want to imagine that I'm speaking for my colleagues in HR, do not discriminate job seekers because they've had a gap. Because we have gaps because of very many things. Sometimes you have a child, you can ABCD and you take a gap. Sometimes you're sick and you take a gap. Sometimes you're going to study maybe overseas and you take a gap. So recruiters do not discriminate us because we had a gap. But it's because when you come for the interview, because I have to get the right person, I am being assessed on the quality of people that I bring to the organization. I have to make sure that my hires are the best and they're able to come and do the job from day one. So if you stay home and you lose the skills that you had, you come for the interview and you're not able to pass the interview. The reason I'm more picking you is not because you had a gap. It is because you did not show me that you had the skills that I required to do the job. The fact that you are shortlisted with a gap tells you the gap was not an issue. And I would like people who have gaps to actually understand that. Most of the time we keep saying, I've had a gap, the gap is bothering me. It is not the gap that is bothering you. It is the rustiness that you have gathered during this time that you have been away. So whatever
Wow.
you do,
Okay.
whatever you do, make sure that you do not become rusty.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. I like that. The other thing then I want to touch on is this idea of empathy with the company, right? So, you're putting in the work, you know what your value is, although I guess HR guys don't like hearing that.
No, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay.
And then maybe now someone is seeing, oh, our business had closed in April, but now, things are beginning to open again. Is it appropriate to go back to your employer and start asking for
a
a
job.
bump in your salary?
I think employers have to be fair also. They have to be fair. But let me just explain the point about empathy. We have an example of some companies where for sure they have closed shop. And maybe they made a mistake and they didn't communicate to the employees, like maybe proceed on unpaid leave for whatever reason. Maybe they made a mistake. They thought things would improve, or maybe they assumed, people will understand for whatever reason. Therefore, guys were not sent on unpaid leave, maybe the right way on ABCD. So someone stays home and the business is not able to pay. And then they get a letter in the morning from the employee saying, I would appreciate if I got my salary arrears. Maybe now we are talking of someone who earns 400k and all that. So you're talking about maybe the tune of 1.2 and all that, and it's, you're not even open to a payment plan. You're even saying I'm going to quote an ABCD. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And trust me, there are very many people like that out here. Yeah. So when I talk about empathy, it's about being realistic.
Okay.
About what is happening on the ground.
All
Just because there's a gap in the business, maybe there are so many things that had stalled. Maybe there are still loans that your business was paying.
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know, rent was reaccrued. There are very many things that go into the operations of a business.
So as an employee, you
as an employee, you
still
can
hold
ask, you
on.
can open that discussion, but then be willing to listen.
Okay.
Yeah.
So don't
go
force
like
it.
you're not. Don't go like you're going like it is this, or I'm
the
walking
highway.
out, or I'm walking out.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a question here. Someone here says, Joyce, your guest says that if you don't qualify, don't apply for the job. But what if I can learn on the job? Is that considered in the interview? I may have experience, but not all of it. I guess the trouble of that is it's a cost to the employer, right?
I just want them to know if they have 80%. If you feel like you have 80%, or if you feel what you're lacking is something that is very minor, you can be trained, please apply. Don't lock yourself out. Participate in the game, you might just win.
So is it okay to even say what they are saying here? That I know I don't have everything, but I am passionate.
If you have
Maybe
80%,
I have the skill.
let me take it down. If you have 70%,
Okay,
please apply.
apply.
But if you have 0, please, or 20%, that is too low, Aki. And you're going to compete. You can apply, but most likely you just start feeling bad. I keep telling guys, focus on the quality, not the quantity.
And when you're interviewing, is it appropriate to tell your employer, I believe I can learn on the job?
If they shortlisted you, everything else doesn't matter.
Okay.
If you have been shortlisted, they already know you can do the job. They like you already. Please now just know it's about you proving for sure, you did not make a mistake to shortlist me.
Wow.
The moment you are shortlisted, now don't focus on why you can't do the job. Focus on how I can do the job and why I am the best for the position.
I like that. The moment you're shortlisted, so
No,
the
it doesn't
shortlisting
matter.
is a huge deal.
Yeah. The shortlisting is, and that's why when you're even sending your applications, you must see it with the recruiter's lens. You must ask yourself, what are they looking for, and how do I use my experience, my qualification to showcase, to make them know that at a glance, I am the person that they're looking for, And that's why I tell guys, read the job description, see the keywords, see exactly what ticks for them in this, what exactly are they looking for. And if you have done those things, even if it's different words and you have done, please bring that out.
Okay.
Don't have a generic CV. Always read, understand what people are looking for, even sleep over and do your CV the following day, and now get to understand this is what they're looking for. Let me bring it out in this way. You're not lying. You're just trying to now relate as much as you can. Okay. You might find there are things that you that are not in your CV and are in this particular job description. Now you need to bring them into your CV, but do not copy and paste a job description.
Gotcha.
Use your own wit and all that.
All right.
Yeah.
Final question here. Someone is saying, I've been an intern until I've lost hope. What can I do?
Wow.
There are people who've been in that intern space for a long time. They do their best. They keep hoping for the company to
take them up,
to take them up, but it doesn't happen. What do you suggest to those who've sort of been in the internship phase for a while?
So 2 things. It depends first of all with what are your goals for internship. I've seen places where people come for internship and they don't learn a thing. I've seen very many people who either they don't know or I don't know what happens, but there are very many people who do not train interns anything. So we take interns most time to comply with the school requirements, or because I'm just home idling, I get an internship. But you go in without any goals. So by the end of the 3 months, you haven't learned anything.
Wow.
So even when you go for another interview, you can't even pass, And I'll say most interns will spend time photocopying, doing desktop things that are not actually adding value. If you ask them what they did, they have an idea, very far-fetched idea of what, because you have done like 32 internships. You're almost like an assistant, but you must drive what you want as an intern, and this is something
be
that
proactive, very important.
actually writing down.
Yes.
Writing down. Sit down with someone who is actually a seasoned person that you cope with in that organization. Tell him, even I'm an accountant, what are some of the things that an assistant must know? Because that's your next target. And they tell you must know payables, you must know receivables, you must know tax. Then ask them, so how do you do tax? So even if you have been given ABCD by your line manager, go with your goals.
Jitole usikae tu hapo
unatumwa tu kufanya files na kupeleka chai sijui na kufanya nini nyingine. Follow them and ask them, I would want to know how account payables are done. In school you mentioned ABCD. Can I show me ABCD? Trust me, your boss will like that proactiveness.
Absolutely.
And by the time you're done with your 6 months, if you're done to internships, you will be too seasoned. You'll be too seasoned, you're able to get something.
Fantastic.
But if you spend, even if in your CV the things you're writing are not talking to us as recruiters, then again you won't be shortlisted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jane, thank you so much. I think this has been a very valuable conversation. Great to have you as always. How can people reach you?
Career Management Center. Just Google Career Management Center Limited. My number, I'm sure they won't get this, is 0722-638-365.
Okay.
You can search me online, Jane Mutisia. Jane Mutisia, the interview coach.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll probably find me.
Fantastic. Great to see you again. And
Same
with that
here.
said, guys, we're going to take a break now as we get ready to head to 10 a.m. That's the top of the hour. But still coming up next, we have for you a travel experience to Benin. Stay tuned.